Okay, so when I sat down to watch this flick, I thought for sure this is going to turn into a rant video because number 2 was such just a god-awful pile of shit. But sadly, I can't rant about this movie because I actually liked it. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So I got a quick review here for you. The movie is called Deep Blue Sea 3. And I'll tell you, I sat down and watched this movie and I thought, okay, I'm gonna lick my chops here because this is gonna be a rant video and I'm gonna rip this movie apart. But you know what? I liked it. I really did. I'll tell you, like, it didn't take much for it to be better than the second one because you sit and you watch movies sometimes, and God honestly, when you finish them, you wonder why they were even fucking made. And part 2 was like that. It was absolutely terrible. Man, they made up for it with this movie. In fact, I don't even think they referenced the second movie at all in this one. They're trying to tie it into the first movie. If you look at the trivia on this movie, it takes place 20 years, exactly 20 years after the first one. And basically what it is there's a research team led by Tanya Redmonds, who plays Emma Collins, and her group of researchers, and they're looking at how climate change is affecting the great white shark. And it's kind of cool too because their research facility is this floating village called the Happy, and it was pretty cool. I mean, this movie had a budget of $5 million, and they spent every penny of it to make this movie look good. And I think they did a really good job. Also, too, a couple things before I get into it here. John Pogue is the director. He has got 5 movies under his belt as far as directing goes, but if you do research on this guy, he is more of a writer, and it shows in this movie because he's not listed as one of the writers in this, but I'm sure he had a hand in it. But if you have a good written script for pretty, good actors and actresses to work off of, it shows, and it did in this movie because honestly, the story was pretty cool till we get into the third act, which I'll get into. But the acting, for the most part, was great. I mean, you've got some recognizable faces in here, and you've got some people I've never seen before, but they all killed it. Tanya Raymond, plays Emma Collins. She's like the head kind of research person in charge of this facility. And I just for my own personal opinion here, she is absolutely stunning. Man, if I could mold the perfect woman, I had never seen her before, and I was like, where did she come from? So, man, she just that right there, she was fantastic. And then Nathaniel Bozolic is her ex-boyfriend who comes into the movie kind of halfway through the first act there. He's kind of starts off as kind of the bad guy, which you know he is right away. Emerson Brooks, and it was funny, he plays Eugene Shaw. He's part of the research team. And as soon as he came out of the water onto this floating research village and took his scuba suit off, I thought, okay, there's only one reason why this guy's in this movie. And it worked. It really did. Okay. Because honestly, if you break this movie down, I fully believe that this movie was made more geared towards women, which is fine. I got no problem with that at all. But it's just the way things end up at the end of the movie. And it's like, yeah, the women are beautiful in it, but the men are too. And it's like, this guy is in this movie solely because he could honestly be Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's brother. Like, as soon as he took his scuba suit off, I thought, okay, this guy's in here for the ladies. So is Bren Forster, who kind of plays the muscle, you know what I mean, for Richard Lowell, who's the bad guy. And even, Nathaniel Bozolic is a good-looking guy too, right? So, I mean, you've got a whole research facility full of just stunning-looking people, you know what I mean? But it is definitely geared towards women, and it's just the way it plays out. Because, and I don't want to give spoilers here, but so plug your ears here for 10 seconds. But by the time this movie's over, all the men are dead. All of them, okay? And all the women survive, which is totally fine, you know what I mean? And you have to watch this movie kind of play out in front of you, but you'll see what I mean as it goes through. So, but enough of that. I mean, it made no difference to me. I thought it was a pretty good fucking movie, really. So, but yeah, so it's basically first act, we're introduced to this research facility and the people on it, and then along comes Richard Lowell in his giant fucking, $1 trillion ship that he rolls up on, and he lets Emma Collins and her crew know that they're there because there's 3 bull sharks that are coming their way, and this is how they're tying it into the first one. Now, I don't know what the main shark's name was from the first movie, Deep Blue Sea, but they're saying it's offspring of her, and we all know that she was genetically modified, and so are these sharks, and they're just, wreaking havoc and killing everything they come in the path with on the way, through the sea here, and they have to be stopped, and they're on a, beeline course for this research facility. So that's pretty much the end of the first act. The second act is them trying to stop these things, and there's twists and turns in this movie, and it's like there's always confliction and stuff like that. And then you think Richard Lowell is the bad guy, but then he sees the light of day, and then he turns into a good guy, and then that's when Lucas, kind of the muscle of the movie, he kind of becomes the bad guy, and into the third act is where this movie lost a lot of steam for me. The first act was incredible. I mean, the underwater shots, the scenery, the pacing was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, we're just introduced to characters in a manner of which, you know what I mean, we get to learn about them and kind of their background, and it's not like force-fed to us. It was really good pacing. Even halfway through the second act, it was good pacing. There's some good gore in this movie. There's a couple kills that are predictable, but you know what I mean? It's a shark movie, so I mean, people are going to get eaten by these fucking sharks. But the CGI sometimes looks really, really good, and sometimes it looks really, really bad. But that's the same with any kind of I don't even know if you can call this a lower budget movie. I looked it up, and I found it had a budget of $5 million. I'm not sure if that was correct or not, but I believe it. But I think they spent a lot of the money on the practical. Just this floating island alone is fucking killer. So, I mean, when you watch this movie, you'll know what I mean. But once you get into the third act of this movie, like, God honestly, I honestly thought this movie was going to end at certain points in this movie almost 4 times. Just the way, because you know how you have that, that final battle scene, and there's that lead up, and you're getting all worked up, and then it happens, and then it's over, right? And that's supposed to be the end of the movie. But then there's another fucking ending, and it leads up. Like 3-4 times they did that, and by the end of it, you're fucking exhausted, and you just don't care anymore. Like, honestly, they should have ended this movie, got rid of 2 or 3 of the false endings that they give you, and just focused on one big, huge final climax, and that would have helped this movie along in the third act greatly. And if you haven't seen this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I mean, Jesus Christ, by the end of this movie, I was like, how many fucking endings? Remember back in high school, like I'm almost 50, right? Back in high school, when a library was still a thing, they used to have these novels out, and I don't know if they still do, but you could read the novel like 5, 6, 7 different times, and depending on what chapter you chose to continue on, it would lead you to a different ending. I can't remember what those books were called. For the older people who are watching this, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's what this movie felt like. Like, it was like, okay, this is the ending. Oh, that was great. Oh, no, we're still going here. Oh, okay, this is the ending. Nope. They can still squeeze 2 more endings in here. Like, it just kept going and going, and I was like, what? Like, just end the fucking movie already. You already had me like twice. Why you want to go for a third or a fourth time? So, I don't know. Anyways, didn't hate this movie though. The third act, I think they kind of dropped the ball. And then the other thing too, like this is definitely a woman's empowerment style movie, and I'm totally cool with that. Don't take it as I'm not knocking that at all. I thought this movie was fucking pretty good. The acting was fantastic. I just found it funny that all the men die. Some of them died in heroic ways, though, so I mean, that's cool. But all the women, even, and again, I don't want to give spoilers, but there was one woman in here who, like, halfway through the second act, they made it apparently obvious she got fucking eaten by a shark, or give you that, and then she pops up at the very end. So all the women live, and all the guys die. It's all good. You know what I mean? It was a good movie, well acted. The effects were killer. And yeah, guys, I highly recommend this movie. So if you have seen it, leave me comments down below. And if you haven't seen it, again, highly recommend it. For a rating, I'd probably give it like a 6, maybe 6.5. Way better than the second one. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, go rent it. Come back and let me know what you think, guys. And until next time, stay scared.